Hi all, this is the badging video for the electro-cleaning setup here at MakeHaven. So electro-cleaning is the process of using electricity to clean conductive things, generally metals. The idea is you can use DC electricity, direct current electricity, to remove rust, paint, oil, gunk, stuff like that from metal in a non-destructive way. So versus sandblasting, which you might end up removing some of the material that you want to keep, this will really just work at the surface. It can also get at all sorts of nooks and crannies that might be difficult to get to with a wire brush or with a sandblaster or some other cleaning method. It's fairly gentle, but it does take more time. It takes a few hours generally. So that's the idea behind electro-cleaning. The way that it works is we have our plastic tank here with water in it, as well as some washing soda or sodium carbonate. The sodium carbonate breaks up into its constituent ions, which lets the solution be more conductive for the ions that are released in the process of electro-cleaning. So here we have our DC power supply, and this can provide up to 30 amps of cleaning power, which is a pretty decent amount. If you're being really technical about this, which you might be if you were using this at an industrial scale for cleaning parts before you're going to paint them or electroplate them or something like that, you would calculate how many amps per square meter or surface area you wanted. So you would have to calculate the surface area of your part to calculate the amperage. In our case, we generally just kind of fiddle with it until it does a good job. If you're doing a whole lot of parts, it might be worth doing some actual calculations so that you can do this process efficiently. So here we have the power supply. This is the voltage adjustment knob. That's really the only one you need to worry about. Noise offset doesn't matter for this because we're not worried about noise in the system. Power switch, and you don't need to worry about these. And then this switch in the back, you just want to make sure it's set to adjust so that it offers you some adjustability using that front knob instead of having a constant voltage and not having any control over it. Fundamentally, all that you really need to know for this process is that you take your conductive thing and you hang it from the wire in the middle, and so that it's submerged. We have a few different wire options here to help you, if you have a bunch of pieces or different shaped things. And here, this will just sort of, hook over that hook and dangle in the solution. And then over here at our anode, this red wire, we have these steel rods, 1, 2, 3 of them, that dangle in the solution. The way that this process works is sort of by line of sight. So the cleaning action will happen everywhere, but it works better if you have some conductivity arranged in such a way so that all sides of your material are covered. So these steel rods go deep in the tank. And the way that this process of electro-cleaning works is that we have electricity from this black wire. An acronym that I like to use to keep track of the way that the electricity is working is PROA, which is just PROA for positive red oxidizing anode. So here, this is the positive, which is the red. This is where the oxidation occurs, and this is the anode. And then this is just the opposite of all of that. So this is the negative, the black. This is where reduction occurs, and this is the cathode. This is the opposite of all those. And the idea is that the electricity flows here into your cathode, your workpiece, and then those electrons are used to split the water around your part. And it splits that water into hydrogen gas. So you'll see bubbles of hydrogen gas coming up, as well as hydroxide ions. And those hydroxide ions are basic, and so those can help to break down or saponify any grease or oil or gunky things like that are built up on your part. And then those ions travel into this solution, and over here we have our anodes. And at the anode is where the oxidation occurs. So you can see that in addition to oxidizing the water, we also have these super rusty steel rods that are getting oxidized and consumed. They're sort of sacrificial anodes. And in the process of reducing the water, that splits the water into oxygen and electrons. So you'll see oxygen bubbles bubbling up here, and then those electrons go into this rod and back to the power supply. So that completes the circuit. And then the hydronium ions and the hydroxide ions from here go into the solution and balance each other out so that that process can keep happening. If we didn't have the sodium carbonate in here providing all those ions, then it would quickly saturate the area right around each of the electrodes. So then our circuit would not be very effective. So that's why it's in there. It does feel kind of slimy on the fingers. So we have gloves right here. There are other rubber gloves around. I would recommend using those. It's not dangerous. Also is a very low voltage, so there's no real risk of you getting shocked in a meaningful way. I think it maxes at 13 volts. So you might get a tingle if you tried to touch, both the liquid and the wire at the same time or something like that, but it's not a real risk to your health. That said, you want to make sure not to touch these conductors together. That will probably trip this guy. So up here we have a little circuit breaker, and if it draws too much current, then this will turn red and you just push the reset button. It'll probably be a little spark and it might hurt the power supply, so try not to do that. We don't want to touch the electrodes together. Now, as I mentioned before, both oxygen and hydrogen are going to be created from this process, and those, especially when mixed, are potentially explosive or flammable. So that's why we have this fan here. So when you're using the machine, just pull the on switch and that will turn the fan on, which will just help to blow that away. We actually don't have a door on here, so this room can't collect those gases to potentially make anything explosive. That said, please don't light any matches or anything right over the tank. So in general, this process takes a few hours. There's no real harm in letting it run a little longer. Because you're connecting your workpiece to the cathode, it's not going to be actively oxidizing your part. When those water molecules are broken up into hydroxide and hydrogen, all those little hydrogen bubbles just sort of work to mechanically break off any rust or gunk on your part. So once, it'll just keep making bubbles after it's done cleaning, so it's not going to be dangerous to your part. That said, no need to run it any longer than you need to. So please be mindful about coming in and checking on your part. We have stickers over here, so you can put a little sticker on the tank just with your name and the date. And if a part has been here for longer than a day, then someone will just turn this off. In the future, I might put a timer on this if it becomes a problem and people are forgetting their things in here, just so we aren't wasting electricity. Once your piece has come out, it will be quite susceptible to re-rusting, to flash rusting. So I would recommend quickly rinsing off the solution, because it'll be kind of slimy. So you just bring it to the slop sink and rinse it off. And then I would apply oil to it pretty quickly. So that could be whatever oil you want, WD-40 or vegetable oil. If you're doing something like cleaning old cast iron pans, then you can put a food grade oil on it. Eventually, these sacrificial anodes will need to be replaced, but they're pretty heavy chunks of steel, so they should be good for a while. And another note is that down here, we have both a lye tank and a vinegar tank. So the vinegar is useful for removing rust. So if your part is super rusty, you can try putting it in the vinegar tank first, so that acid can have a go at breaking down that rust. And then on the left, we have lye, which is very basic. It's very caustic. It will burn your skin. So that's why we have gloves there. Make sure to wear gloves. And that is good if you have really thick layers of grease. The lye will convert that grease into soap effectively. And so that can help to break through that. So those are two other options for cleaning rusty parts. So now that I've explained the whole system, more or less, I'm just going to turn this fan on, hang this part from there, and then I'll show you what it looks like when we come back tomorrow morning. Then I'm just going to turn this on. And you can see that the voltage is set to about 9.5 volts, and it's currently drawing about 3 amps. Then down here, you can see that we have some oxygen bubbles starting to be generated right there. And if we look here, soon we should be able to start to see some hydrogen bubbles coming up from our cathode. What you can do if you want, if you wait a minute and you're not seeing bubbles by your workpiece, is you can increase the voltage, which will also increase the amperage. So now we're about 15 volts. I even ran an extra little wire from there straight to the part just to make sure it got extra good conductivity. The goal to make this work well is really to make sure you get as much conductivity as possible so you can get as much current flowing through it as you can, which will obviously help clean it more quickly. The bigger the surface area, the more current will be able to be conducted through it. So don't expect to get the same amount of current flowing through a bigger piece as a smaller piece. If you're not getting a lot of current going, make sure you're getting good conductivity between this wire. Sometimes there's corrosion here, so you could take some sandpaper to this to buff that off to make sure these wires are conducting well. You can also grab a scraper like this to scrape off the electrodes to make sure you're getting good conductivity there. Turn the fan on to blow off the gas from the top. Then just switch this on. And we can see here we're about 15 volts. And the current starts high and then it starts to saturate the area right around the pieces with ions. So then it drops a little bit and stabilizes. So we'll see what it gets to. And then we can see here, you can see the bubbles pouring off the part. And so those bubbles are all agitating off the metal. You can see bubbles coming off the electrodes here, these sacrificial anodes. So this is the tank after about 3 hours. You can see how we have some foam that's been produced. We have some rusty foam by the oxidized electrodes, and then some whiter foam in the middle. And if we lift it up, you can see some of the stuff starting to slough off. We see some bare metal there. So I'll just leave that overnight. If the level of water in the tank starts to drop low, feel free to fill it back up with the hose from the water jet. Just try to keep it below this line, below this wire and below these wires, because we don't want those to get eaten away. And this is what it looks like after a rinse in the sink. So there's still a lot of pitting. It had pretty heavy rust. It's definitely not shiny, but depending on what you're trying to do, this could be a great tool. So thanks for watching and have fun.